News tonight. Edo State government intercepts over 100 irregular travelers flouting interstate boundary restrictions. And Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 expressed worry over attitude of Nigerians as community transmission ranges. Good evening and welcome to the news. I am Elizabeth Omako. 148 new cases of COVID-19 have been recorded by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. 43 are in Lagos, 32 in Kano, 14 in Zamfara, 10 in FCT, 9 in Katsina, 7 in Taraba, Borno and Edo, Kaduna and Bauchi have 3 each. Oyo has a new case, Adamawa 2, Gombe 2, while Plateau, Sokoto and Kebbi have 1 each. As at 11:40 p.m. Tuesday night, 2,950 confirmed cases of the virus have been reported in Nigeria, with 481 patients discharged and 98 deaths recorded so far. Samples tested are 19,512 with 2,371 active cases. With the confirmation of 3 new cases of coronavirus in the Edo State, there are now 65 patients, active cases 51, 10 discharged, and a total of 4 deaths. In the meantime, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, in its briefing this Wednesday, noted that assessment of ease of lockdown indicates that Nigerians are yet to come to terms with the deadly nature of COVID-19, with breaches including non-compliance with social and physical distancing and confirmed interstate movements. It says ban on all flights are extended by 4 weeks and is worried about increasing rate of infection of medical doctors and other health personnel. He advises state governments to increase number of bed spaces and isolation centers. 26 persons hidden inside a consignment of salt have been intercepted by security agencies at Ajib Junction, Sapele Road, Benin City. They flagged the presidential order restricting interstate travels. Goodluck Inainu completes the reports.
Who are mainly from the northern parts of the country are said to be ferried by a truck laden with salt from Rivers State en route Zaria and had crossed many interstate boundaries to find their way into Edo State. They spoke through an interpreter upon interrogation by Governor Baseki at the Stella Obasanjo Hospital Isolation Center.
Yanzu kenan aka bar ku za ku shiga mota ku wuce straight ba wanda za ka sauke anan. They are allowed to pass. None of them is dropping here. All of them are going to Zaria.
The governor, who expressed dismay on the development, directed that they be escorted out of the state by security operatives. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Patrick Okundia, says the regular travelers will be screened of COVID-19 before they are led out of the state.
We have found that there are a total number of 26, including the drivers, and we're going to do testing for all of them. After this is done, we will have all their records.
In the meantime, the Edo State coordinator of the World Health Organization, Faith Ireye, has commended security agencies for being proactive. In Benin, Goodluck Inainu, NT News.
Similarly, a truck traveling from Kano State conveying 81 passengers has been intercepted at Ira, Issa Central. They are currently undergoing COVID-19 tests at the Ira Specialist Station Hospital. Sylvester Imokwede has details.
21 migrants from Kano State conveyed in a truck were intercepted at night by security operatives in Eastern Central Local Government Area of Edo State. Irua Specialist Teaching Hospital, in conjunction with Eastern Central Local Government Council Authority, immediately carried out a screening exercise on the migrants to ascertain their coronavirus status. The Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Professor Silvanus Ukogbeni, and the Chairman, Eastern Central Local Government Council, Professor Waziri Edokpa, spoke on the situation.
What we are really doing is to screen, and then those who are due for PCR testing will then be tested. Once we get the results, of course the NCDC will be informed, the state government will be informed. We got the distance course yesterday around 11 o'clock, and we are doing all we can now. You can see we are trying to profile them.
Some of the migrants spoke on why they embarked on the journey despite federal government ban on interstate migration.
That was why I will go Lagos. The reason that we came out from our hometown because of the life we are. That is why. And most of us doesn't have money.
The 81 migrants have been sent back to Kano State, where they came from. In Edo Central, Sylvester Imonkwede, NTA News.
And right in the studio is Dr. Emmanuel Oduwari, Chief Resident, Department of Family Medicine, University of Benin Teaching Hospital. Good to have you in the studio, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
What is your opinion on having screening centers at each boundary? Do you think it is one effective way to prevent the spread of COVID-19?
Well, you have to consider the fact that the federal government has instituted interstate travel ban to mitigate the spread of the pandemic. The reason is this: there are at least two epicenters we know. The major epicenter is Lagos, and then now we have increasingly so Kano. Now, what typically happens with human behavior is when you allow travel, when person knows that there's a problem in a particular state, they're naturally going to flee that state to go to other states. That's what normally happens with humans. And if we haven't had this interstate travel ban all the while, there are a lot of persons who would have left Lagos and the FCT come to other states. Now, the challenge with that is that these persons are moving, and as we know about the pandemic, there are persons who are asymptomatic carriers. That means they don't have symptoms, but yet are conveying it. So, as far as they're concerned, they are fleeing the problem, but they may be carrying the problem themselves to a different state. And then you have a problem where you now have a distribution of this same problem around the country, and then the federal government can no longer contain it. So the interstate travel ban helped. Now, what different state governments are doing now is there are persons who will try to flout these restrictions. The good thing is that because there's a travel ban, there are fewer persons who will flout it, and that's why security agents can track these persons. So what you do now, you see what the state government has done. You cannot typically screen at the point of entry. What you do at the point of entry to intercept, then you screen while sending them back. So, and that's a responsible thing to do. On the one hand, you don't want them to bring it, if they do have it, into your state. On the other hand, you don't want them to take it, if they do have it, to another state. So what the state government is doing is they intercept, then screen. Those who are positive, they will have to isolate them. And then those who are negative are allowed to go back to where they're coming from. So it's a very responsible thing to do. It's the right thing to do to mitigate spread.
What happens when someone is flagged as high risk and has his or her samples taken? Is a person usually turned back or left into the state?
Well, typically, what will happen is, if we look at Edo State, Ogun State has done the same thing, FCT has done the same thing, and those are anecdotal experiences that we have. What you typically do is that you keep them until the results are out. Typically, because we're doing molecular testing, it takes about 2 days. All right, so usually you would want to know their results before you let them out there. So that will be about 24 to 48 hours. So most centers, most states do have centers where they can keep them. When you get to their results, then they can let them out or isolate them, as the case may be. Now, the key thing in containment is you have to identify, you have to contact trace. When you identify cases that are positive, you contact trace. That's, you can't find those who they've been in contact with. Then you isolate those who are positive, and then you treat. Once you do that, you've covered the entire containment spectrum. And that's what states are doing, because let's face it, globally everybody's looking towards a reopening of the economy. The only way you can do that and allow people on the streets is if you are able to quickly isolate those who are positive and separate them from the crowd.
Now, there are rumors making rounds that elderly members of the society who report sick in the hospital are usually rejected. How true is this?
Well, I can tell you clearly, the University of Benin Teaching Hospital is not possible. The University of Benin Teaching Hospital has a standing policy that has spanned, at least for what I know, over a decade, and that's the federal government directive that the hospital does not have the prerogative of rejecting a patient. You can only do that when you've maxed out your capacity. But even as that, the patient is not told to go back. You keep waiting while you try and create entry. And if I interface, based on my interface with Stella Bassinger Hospital, my colleagues there, and Central Hospital, I'm not aware that is going on. So, well, it might have happened and was not properly communicated, but as far as I do know, that's not true, and that policy is unethical. All right, you cannot turn away any demographic, whether a child or an adult or an elderly person. When sick people, like the scriptures will say, the sick need a physician. When people are sick, they should go to the hospital. It doesn't matter whether we have a pandemic or not. We'll have this called, we'll have other calls. We'll have last year, we've had pandemics. We have a way we handle this thing. So that person is sick, he comes to the hospital and is turned away. It's a bit of my imagination.
So, what happened about the general compliance? What would you say rather about the general compliance to wearing a face mask, social distancing, and the
I'll be brutally honest with you. I don't think on our part, maybe we as health care providers, maybe the media, and even the general public at large, I don't think we've done well enough as far as understanding this message. You know, it's the compliance is abysmal, to say the least. When you go around Benin, you look at footage from Lagos and other cities, you find that people actually think it's a joke. You know, I keep using this maxim when I talk about things like this. Blessed is he who has not seen yet believes. You don't want to have a personal experience before you believe that this thing is real. You go out around Benin, there are many persons who are not wearing a face mask, and those who are wearing a face mask are just slinging it around their jaw. And a few who even take it up just around their mouth. You know, I think we need to teach people properly that face mask is a mechanical barrier. It doesn't matter which type you're using, whether it's a cloth mask. Now, a cloth face mask does not necessarily protect you, but prevents you, if you are a courier, from infecting others. Now, so if everybody's wearing at the very minimum a cloth face mask, it means that those who are positive cannot spread it, and so all of us are protected. So, like I tell people, let's talk mask to mask, not face to face. That's what we need right now, because as we begin to reopen the economy, we need to start practicing those three things. Always put on a face mask, hand hygiene, that's routine hand wash, and then social distancing as much as possible, including public transport, including the marketplaces. You go out, it's like people who just believe that we have won the war. The war is still on. What the government is doing by easing the lockdown is to understand that this disease has achieved its first aim. The aim of every germ is to become a pandemic. And very few diseases achieve that in their lifetime. Malaria has done that, HIV has done that, and now Ebola could not do that, Lassa could not do that, but the flu did that, and now coronavirus has done that. So when a germ achieves that aim of becoming a pandemic, that means it's everywhere in the world at the same time, it will never go away. That's the reality. So what society is now bracing us, how will we cope with this virus that has come to stay with us? It has come to stay. It will not always be this deadly, but the reality is that it has come to stay. So the things we will need to learn going forward are the new normal. We need to practice regular hand hygiene. We need to start learning that in public places we need to start using face masks more routinely. And then we need to start incorporating physical distancing measures. Children growing up and born today would not live in the same world that I have been living in since I was born. We will have to evolve. That's how you beat a pandemic. That's how you beat a scout. Because this germ, it has come to stay. It will not always be this deadly. What diseases do is that the germs themselves, they mutate. That means they adapt to the environment. And the way they adapt, they become less deadly so that they can survive longer. But it means that we ourselves also have to adapt and make sure that we practice what we're practicing now going forward.
You just said we need to use the face masks more routinely.
Yes, we have to.
Now, some say prolonged use of this face masks is not healthy.
That's a myth that has to be debunked right away. Let's face it. Face masks are mechanical barriers that prevent germs or certain particulate matter, okay, because they have their own pores. They're like a sieve. So it prevents certain materials or certain sizes from getting into your respiratory system. Now, but it doesn't prevent air, because the persons who manufacture it essentially for health workers, and we have to breathe while working. I mean, the times I've been in theater for 12 hours. Some surgeries can take up to 20 hours for those who operate for that long. Some surgeries can take up to 28 hours. I also don the face masks throughout that period so that you don't infect the patient you're operating upon. So there is no way we could have had a material that was designed for health workers that can prevent us from breathing. So it just doesn't make sense. Just debunk that story. Wearing face masks for a long period, even throughout the day, cannot cause hypoxia. That's low concentration of oxygen in the blood. It doesn't. You can wear a face mask. Matter of fact, some of us, when you're sleeping, you drape your blanket over your face, and yet you can still breathe. So it's no problem. You can wear it, no problem.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Dr. Emmanuel Oduware, Chief Resident, Department of Family Medicine, University of Benin Teaching Hospital. You're still on to NTA News at 7. Our first break is now to stay on.
If we are going to stop the spread of the virus, every person must be involved. It must be a shared responsibility. Government alone cannot stop it without the active cooperation of the citizens. As I emphasized in my last statement, the COVID-19 virus does not spread on its own. It is people who spread it when they move around. So if we can reduce the movement of people for a period and keep safe distance from each other, the virus will not spread.
Stay Home Data Plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
Next time you visit the ancient city of Benin, 2 things will excite you: the warmth and welcome of its people, and of course, the class and style of its hospitality business. Rendeki Gold, home of hospitality like no other, located in one of the most serene environments in the ancient city, truly classy and exquisite with world-class facilities, fully equipped digital multipurpose hall with life-size, ultra-high definition LED screen, 180 square meters king-size swimming pool with bubble bath, enough to leave you breathless. The exotic Ariel's Bistro and Grill Restaurant with variety of continental dishes, especially some of the rarest delicacies you can find in town. Fact is, a visit will truly convince you that we are gold. Rendeki Gold is the gold wing of the prestigious Rendeki Royal Hotel at 6 Henry Street off Ihama and Boundary Roads, GRA Benin City. www.rendekihotels.com. Rendeki Gold, our hospitality is gold.
Thanks for staying on. Traders in Ekpoma Market have cried out over the recent criminal activities at the Ewari Primary School, where the market has been relocated. A visit to the market revealed that foodstuff worth thousands of naira were carted away by the hoodlums. Rosemary Ibrahim has details.
Egwari Primary School Uma is one of the schools in Esan West where market have been relocated by the Edo State government following COVID-19 pandemic. Recently, the traders in the market have alleged theft of their goods by some hoodlums who invaded the market after the day's business. 2 of the victims whose goods were stolen in an emotionally laden voice narrated their ordeal and counted their losses, appealed to the local government authorities as well as the security agents to come to their aid by beefing up security at the market.
Rice, groundnut oil, marketing tomatoes, where I just buy, they pack all of them. No, I'm not something where we carry, we usually like 200,000. I beg, I be say they say no come for inside market, no come here. No security for here, nothing day here. No, the man with the bank credit.
The full basin of rice I bought coming to the market, I did find it. Full basin of rice, I bought it 19,500 naira and I didn't see it again.
Speaking on the situation, a councillor at the Deputy Whip, Esan West Legislative Council, Ernest Unora, said the local government council has placed priority on the security of the market by ensuring the gates of the market was put under lock and key after the day's business, as well as deploying some security agents who keep watch over the market.
The DPO, the Divisional Police Head in the Esan Local Government Council, is already himself and his team. They are already investigating the issue, and with the arrangement we have made on ground, we have made arrangement with vigilante. We are directly working with the local government council. We are going to have some men on ground that will be guarding this place henceforth.
He, however, stated that more security personnel will be deployed to the market to beef up security to avoid future occurrence, adding that investigation is ongoing by the police on the incident. In Ekpoma, Rosemary Ibrahim, NTA News.
The Edo State Police Command has taken delivery of some palliative kits to enhance its service delivery and the COVID-19 scourge. The gesture is coming from a Chinese company in Benin. Udrak Obam Achibom has details. The coronavirus pandemic in Edo State has given rise to partial lockdown, which has varied effects on the people. To cushion this effect, individuals and organizations have been donating palliatives to the populace. But at the front line of the fight against COVID-19 are policemen who face a number of risks. The donation by the Yongxing Steel Company Nigeria Limited through the company's public relations officer, Mr. Isaac Olufemi, is a way to appreciate the efforts of the Edo State Police Command in its approach and to encourage officers and men to do more, especially to curb the spread of COVID-19.
As a company, we have been here for the past 7 years in Edo State. Edo State has been favorable to us. It has been peaceful. So we took it to our own part of responsibility to give to the police that has major front row concerning this issue.
The State Commissioner of Police, Lawan Tango Jimeta, is happy and believes it will go a long way to enhance their service delivery.
We are still doing our own traditional work of curbing crime. Since this is a disease that you don't know who has it, so our people must work. So this type of palliative will go a long way in protecting us, so that to serve the public very well.
Items donated include 40,000 pieces of face masks, 10 cartons of hand sanitizers, 10 cartons of disinfectant, 1 carton of medium disinfectant sprayer, and 2 outdoor sprayers. In Benin, Udrakobong, NTA News. Meanwhile, the Edo State Police Command has confirmed the murder of one Osaro Igbenike in Benin City, resulting from a court-related clash. The public relations officer of the command, Chidi Wambuzo, gave this information to correspondent Udrak Obam Achibom at the command's headquarters. PRO said, according to a report from the DPO Ogida Divisional Police Headquarters, some group of boys were involved in a court-related fight at Owelu axis of Benin, which they mobilized to the scene only to find the lifeless body of the young man. He said upon preliminary investigation, it was gathered that the cult groups had a fight which led to the death of the young man.
Upon investigation, it was revealed that Aye and Aye secret court members engaged themselves in a fight that led to the death of this young man. It was equally gathered that these people came on a black Lexus Jeep, heavily armed with guns, machete, and a battle axe, of which they use in descending on this young man. Investigation is ongoing. At the end of the day, we will equally make the report known to the public.
The victim was said to be a member of a vigilante group in charge of Uwelu Spare Parts Market. In Benin, Urakobong Achibong, NTA News.
Our second break is now.
We want to buy Indomie noodles. 4 packs, please.
Yo.
This is not my Indomie. Please, sir, if it's not Indomie, don't call it Indomie.
Sir, the taste is the difference. The difference is in the taste. That's why my brothers, my mommy, my daddy, and I all enjoy a delicious, so very delicious Indomie noodles. The difference is the taste.
Taste is the difference.
Yes. Difference is in the taste. Nothing tastes like my Indomie.
Indomie Super Pack, now available at 85 Naira. Indomie noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Thanks for your time. A new head of service for Edo State has been sworn in by Governor Gordon Obaseki. He is Mr. Anthony Osao-Kumboa. He was before now a permanent secretary in the office of a secretary to the state government. Good luck in any reports.
A handful of members of the State Executive Council and the Fourth Estate of the Realm were allowed into the boardroom for the swearing-in exercise in adherence to the guidelines for checking the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Okumboa, who is now the youngest to assume the position and first from the Ministry of Justice.
I, Anthony Okumboa, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, so help me God. I will discharge my duties to the...
Governor Obaseki is happy that the new head of service is coming in at a time government is redirecting the affairs of the service. He is optimistic that with a resourceful leader overseeing the service, the dream of aligning it with modern-day realities will be accomplished. He charged the new head of service to live above board while assuring him of the necessary assistance.
You are coming at a time when, more than ever before, there's an urgent need to clear the rot. We cannot, as a society, continue the way we've always gone. One of the lessons of the current pandemic is that if we are to survive as a people, as a country, then we must now put public good above our personal considerations. And we must all work together, particularly as public servants, to promote the public good. And the civil service is that institution that has been given that responsibility to undertake this role.
Mr. Okumboa pledged his loyalty and thanked the governor for the trust reposed in him.
I think that my work as head of service is to progress this transformation agenda and to ensure that the civil service becomes, like we want it, that instrument through which government can deliver quality governance to the people of this state. That, by the grace of God, I will do my best.
Mr. Okumboa holds a master's degree in law and joined the civil service of Edo State in 1999 and rose to the rank of a permanent secretary in November 2016. In Benin, good luck in NTA News.
And that completes our package for tonight. To have a pleasant night rest. Good night.
Hear the word. I close my eyes to prophesy upon 500 people. Wherever you are hearing the sound of my voice, do the word. yourself, you will see that danger, the danger will run away from you. Turning